Hello, welcome, and good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Before we kick things off, so your regular housekeeping items for anyone that's new, just a quick reminder that our town halls are recorded and will be made available on the Hospitable YouTube channel, so go check that out and subscribe. You don't want to miss out on all the things we upload there. You can also listen to the replays on Clubhouse, so here. So we'll get started with some company updates and let you know what's going on within the business, and then we'll open up the Q&A session. When the time comes, raise your hand through the app, and we'll invite you up on stage to ask your questions. Please remember to mute yourself when you're not speaking and unmute yourself when you are speaking, when you're on stage as a courtesy. If you aren't comfortable on stage or don't want to be recorded, you can ask your questions via chat, and we'll help escalate some of those questions to the stage, or someone will be very gracious to answer that in the chat. So without further ado, I hand the mic over to Pierre with the company update.
Yep, hello everyone. This is Pierre-Camille live from Amsterdam, where we're having a fantastic company retreat with a bunch of support, sales, product, and engineering folks, even marketing even. Wow, that's insane. So that's a fantastic time for us. That's 2/3 of the team that is now in Amsterdam. Last 2 weeks ago, we had a retreat in Las Vegas at the occasion of year May from the end of October. That was mostly a support, sales, and marketing meeting. We've learned a lot, and the team has learned a lot from directly interacting with the customers. And that started the onboarding for Miles, who will actually be hearing his voice a little bit later today. That's a fantastic achievement for all of us. And that was the first time, sometimes in years, that we had the opportunity to meet and train each other face to face. Even though we are completely remote and distributed company now with a team of 34 people, we value immensely the opportunity to be meeting face to face and have room for those strategic conversations that can hardly happen on Zoom and require quite a bit of time to go attend. So this retreat here in Amsterdam is about product and engineering, mostly, unlike support and sales. And it is actually about defining our roadmap, let's say for 2023, and building alignment around it with sales, with marketing, and with wonderful support folks that are coming over. They're coming here from Europe and from Asia, so all around the world with us today. And it's a pretty interesting time for the company to do so. We started today by looking back at our previous roadmap that we are still operating under. That dates back from November 2020, and that's basically the moment where we decided to recommit resources from the company as recovery became absolutely certain. The funny thing is that the highest priority items are things that we probably could be still talking about today, but in a different kind of context. It was about facilitating the onboarding in our product. It's a very complex product. It's very heavy, and we want to deliver value and benefits immediately and much faster. It was about improving our sign-up flow. It's always about generating data to make sure that we can adapt that onboarding experience closer to what you're expecting us to deliver. It was also about a feature that we are not hearing about anymore, which is great. It's muting active properties. So basically the ability that you have on Hospitable to remove properties from your bill moving forward. Bigger items, obviously, were booking.com. It was also about adding manual and direct bookings. Those items have been developed for booking.com and for manual bookings. Direct booking is, as you very much well know, still being worked on today, and still today, actually very much today, by our engineering team. So it's also interesting. It's a 2 years ago that this roadmap was kind of created. Some items that we didn't think we'd be able to ship. They have been shipped, and without even realizing that we somehow decided to not prioritize them at the time. And that was, for example, the case of an integration with Smartlocks. It's actually not just that integration with Smartlocks. It's really the fact that we're able now to service all major brands of Smartlocks directly within our product, so that you don't have to use a third-party product to be able to connect your Smartlocks to your reservation wherever they are. It's also an interesting time because, yes, after a bumpy summer and after incidents and outages, we are confident now that current connectivity, the current connectivity line, the product that you are all using today, is more stable than it has ever been in the past. We also know that direct is closer from release than that's ever been, with a dedicated team in our engineering that is currently working and iterating on direct. And we even believe, after the feedback that we received from GRMA, from industry leaders and customers, that we can tackle even more product opportunities for other software in the industry and offer connectivity services to them to allow them to retrieve information and to retrieve data from Airbnb accounts directly. So that's going to be something that will be expanded on a little bit more in the next few weeks. That is already a very critical point in our roadmap. The last thing that basically makes that roadmap particularly interesting is the fact that we have added as many customers this year so far as the 5 years prior. We just passed basically 9,000 customers just a few days ago, which is a very significant achievement for us. We started at 5,000. So, you know, there's still a few more to add to really properly double the team size, but that's basically nonetheless the direction, and it's not moving much. We'll be definitely in a situation of being able to share with you basically what are the items that we've committed on in the roadmap for the next town hall. So that's, I personally wanted to keep this town hall, even though it's basically going to be a bit more operationally challenged, so that we can get to hear from you about basically what you think are the most important items in the strategic direction that we can do better for, or do completely differently for 2023, that will basically not only keeping you as a customer, but basically achieve, again, the same level of growth, let's say adding between 5,000 and 10,000 customers for Hospitable for 2023. We'll be also communicating that roadmap publicly. That's something that's always coming back in our conversation, is how we can build alignment with our customers on what we are building and communicating more transparently about it. So we hope that we're going to be giving our product team a bit more time to be able to do a better job around communicating around our roadmap. So we're currently working still even after a day like today on the discovery, the list of items that we want to talk about and then prioritize on our roadmap. And that's basically driven by engineering, things that we need to do to have a product in a cleaner slate, having on a product strategy, the big tickets, big moves that can make us more confident at being an industry leader, and definitely our customers' feedback and sales team. That's what I really like about the setup in the team so far. We have 23 attendees from our team in this retreat, and they basically are coming from sales, from support, from product, from engineering, and from marketing. That has been today, for example, an opportunity to clarify our mission, our vision, and our strategy for the company. We'll have time to get marketing on it with Miles to basically polish it and make it like a very great quote that we can feature on our website. But really, the thing that you are telling us whenever you give us a positive review and you tell us how much impact we've had on your life, how much Hospitable has had on your product, is simply that we are able to give you some time back, and sometimes on an instrumental fashion. That's our mission. Our mission is to get hosts their time back. Our product is unique in that it's in its automation capabilities. And the most compelling stories that we're hearing from our customers is precisely how dramatic that implementation has been for you in your life, in your personal life. And the most heartwarming stories that we always hear and like to reflect on are the stories that are told by moms. We have the story of a host, Maya, who wanted to go on vacation. She recruited someone so that she can manage her rentals while she was away. But unfortunately, that person had a death in the family, and she could no longer she could no longer have anyone as a backup, as a fallback. She had to trust Smartlocks at the time to run all the communication, even though she may not have any network and she will be far away and committed to spending time with her family. And Smartlocks during that time basically worked with data clutch. I think that's really the word that Maya used at the time. And that was really a fantastic story that we keep on sharing to every person joining the team today, is that when we're working on the reliability of a service, when we're working on a feature that can help automate an answer to one or two questions, that's really basically about giving you the peace of mind that you can spend the time with your family, because there's no point in basically getting a business like Airbnb if you cannot find the ability to, yeah, to find more time with your loved ones. We also had another story. Unfortunately, I no longer have the name of that person. It's just a screenshot that we're keeping of that new mom that was able to go into labor, deliver a baby, sleep all day for a few days, and still manage my Airbnbs. And my guests have not noticed, our guests did not notice a thing, with her doing literally no work, focusing on the birth and having a few back-to-back one-night bookings. Those are the compelling stories that we remember fondly, because that's where we believe would have a dramatic impact, and we don't know any other product that can have that kind of an impact for our lives if we're not short-term rental operators. And when that mission is achieved, that means we would have been succeeding at turning short-term rentals at least as trivial as long-term rentals. We would like to basically change completely the economics of the equation, whether you should be hosting on Airbnb or whether you should basically prefer to have a long-term tenant. We know that running those short-term rentals is incredibly operationally intensive, and we believe there is a fantastic opportunity for software to be stepping in and doing the work for you in a reliable fashion, and always adding to the guest experience and the operation experience. So those were important points for building alignment within team. And then the point is basically, how can we do more to achieve that in the next roadmap for our strategic planning over a 7-year timeline, and also in the next year or so. Now, that's not going to be happening on its own, and that's why we are absolutely thrilled to have, starting next Wednesday, a new senior product manager joining the team, Emily. She's absolutely amazing. You would love to hear her. And she's actually going to be the product manager running the existing core and connectivity product. That is basically what we're referred to as the product that we're having today. Hospitable is a company that actually is going to be running 3 products in the future. One that core and connect, that we call core and connectivity. Another one, which is going to be called Direct, and that you've been looking forward to. And later, another product is going to be for a very specific and different audience, which is going to be Connect, empowering B2B software to allow their customers to get access to Airbnb data. So,
And Emily's here, so hey, Emily, I know you're in the crowd and haven't provided, we weren't updated on an intro here, but hey, Emily, we just wanted to say hi. We look forward to you starting next week.
I didn't see you. I'm sorry for that, Emily. But it's a pleasure, and we're looking forward to having you sometime soon. So yeah, just before I'm adding to Matthew, we'll be just sharing a few numbers. Basically, our monthly recurring revenue has grown 4% in the last 30 days, reaching $393,000. That's what we invoice our great customers every day, and we reinvest all of that into our products and our support. And we have, as I was alluding a bit earlier, we've passed a very meaningful milestone that we have passed 9,000 customers. I've talked a lot. Sorry for that, Matthew. We're having this tunnel, and you're just sitting just across me, looking at you, and you're not looking at me. You're riveted on your computer. Like, what the hell, dude? What the hell? Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm leaving you in the beautiful arms, soft moves of Matthew.
The roller skating king, as I've been dubbed. Thanks, Lisa. I appreciate that. So just some quick sales updates, because we have Miles this week to give you the marketing updates. But from the sales team, wanted to share what our hosts have been sharing with our team. Payment processing is still one of the top needs of our hosts. We know that hosts are looking to control their cash flow, and trust us, we're sharing that with our product team regularly. They're getting plenty of kicks, and I know Andrew's even addressed some of that in the chat already, so we appreciate that, Andrew. With Brian, he wanted to share with me that he's been speaking to a lot of hosts who are talking about their bookings and reservations slowing down. Even Brian himself has shared that his reservations seem to have slowed at this point in time as well. So he wanted to ask us to remind you all, remember to be asking for those guests' email address, right? Collect your guest contact information. Use some email marketing tools to entice those past guests to come and stay with you once again. And if you haven't been collecting emails, you can even take a look at our metrics section, because we may have some emails that we're able to store for you that have just come through. And within that metrics section, you'll be able to get a list of all the emails we would have available for your past guests. And lastly, don't forget to reach out through those social channels, right? Let your friends and family know. Let those connections know on social media about the great deals they can find at your property. Lastly, we've been hearing quite a bit about Marriott and Google, and I know there was a Google shout out in the chat as well. What I want to know about Marriott, what you got to tell us, are they actually getting you reservations? Because for a while there, we've heard that Marriott is, a place where you want to add that logo to your property management site. But at the end of the day, they weren't really generating any revenue for you. So definitely let us know in the chat if Marriott's a viable channel for you. And then lastly, I'm sure you've read about the Airbnb winter release. Just a quick few highlights for you. Air cover's been expanded to give you $3 million in coverage. So for those of you with the really, really luxury places, you're good to go. But screening's going to be expanded with guest ID verification now available in more countries around the world. They're also enhancing their reservation screening to help block those, to be able to detect and block those suspicious bookings and that suspicious booking activity. Airbnb's really has a push they want to add millions of hosts to the platform. So they're streamlining the support that they're providing to new hosts. That Ask a Superhost is now within their entire onboarding. There's a cool new feature where first-time Airbnb hosts can actually choose to have an experienced guest as their first guests to make the process a bit easier for them. And there's also a dedicated support team specifically for those hosts. And, even though it wasn't included in the release, if you read anything about, the investor update, it does seem Airbnb's doing all that they can to try to solve the problem of the rising costs to guests to rent on Airbnb. So it seems like they're going to be offering new discounting tools, new pricing tools. Brian specifically mentioned in his discussion moving towards more all-in-one pricing to make it super transparent and super clear what guests are paying, because he's probably been following TikTok and the Reddit threads or the Twitter threads talking about how hosts are getting backlash for all those additional fees that some of us have to charge there. But that's it from the sales side. We'll stop it there. Thank you all so very much. And Miles is up next. Hey, Miles, it's been great hanging with you. What do you got for the marketing updates?
Hey, Matthew. Just a couple of updates from me for the marketing side. So first off, the next episode of the Hospitable Host podcast is coming out next week, featuring Daniel and Adam from Host Financial. This episode discusses how to finance your short-term rental investment. Adam and Daniel discuss future short-term rental investment opportunities, pros and cons of different ways of financing short-term vacation rentals, investing in today's economic climate, and much more. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. You don't want to miss it. And also next week, our new Hospitable Hosts workshop will be coming up on December 8th, where 3 of our experienced Hospitable Hosts will be discussing everything you need to know about handling emotional support and service animal requests. That discussion will be moderated by our very own Pierre, and invite reminders will come out shortly. So make sure to register and join us for that one. It should be good.
And that podcast, it was absolutely phenomenal. Like I learned a ton, and I'm not really interested in investing at this point in time. But yeah, they shared some really great and non-traditional ways that hosts can leverage some of their existing properties, right? Leverage their existing business to find additional financing. It was a really, really great episode. So I hope you all enjoy it out there.
Awesome. Nice one. Thank you, Matthew. Now handing over to Alyssa for the support update.
Thanks, Miles. So from support, I'll try to keep it short and sweet here, but as was mentioned, a lot of the support team is in Amsterdam right now, and we're the whole team over there is trying to represent you, the customer, as we help planning out the coming year. So with so much of the team working on those higher level strategy items, we are a little short-staffed on working through tickets, but I do think that we're keeping up pretty well considering the lack of people being able to do that. So props to the home team for that. We also have some more tutorial videos coming your way very soon. just waiting on marketing to finish making those pretty for you. And in general, we are working on ways to revamp our help articles and make them even more helpful. So you should be getting a lot more information coming your way soon. And I'll pass it on over to Andrew for the product updates.
Okay, thank you, Alyssa. So as Pierre said, we are broadcasting live from Amsterdam. We are mid-process on our product roadmap. So that's really what we're jumping into now. We do appreciate all the feedback that we're collecting through these town halls through time. We capture that all through the sales channels, through the support channels, everyone that's uploading Conflux tickets. That is super helpful, and that is guiding us as we look at what are the most impactful changes that we can plan for in the next year that help us on our mission to save you guys time and our vision to really to make it as trivial as possible to manage a short-term rental property. So thank you for all the feedback over all that time. We are trying to capture that and do the best we can to plan big features for you. What we've released recently, shout out to Glenn, one of our newer front-end engineers. He's been taking tickets down that I know you guys have been super happy. We've gotten great feedback. Just small little things that make it easier to use the product. So like on the property view for those power users that have lots of tags or lots of segments for your properties, we collapse those now once you have more than 5, and we put a little show more link there, made that page a lot easier to navigate for the bigger users. Same thing with if you ever get into like your reservation details, maybe from the inbox, had a long property description that was really making you scroll a lot to find what you were looking for on that page. So we just collapsed that and added a little show more link if you needed to access your property description there. On the mobile side, super little update we did, but again, it makes the mobile interface a lot easier to navigate by just decreasing the size of that intercom icon and moving it to the header. So we got it out of your way for what you were trying to do on mobile. On the Smartlock front, pushed several fixes and optimizations, including one that came up in the last town hall. We realized that if you disconnected your lock from Hospitable, those existing codes weren't getting deleted from the device. So we fixed that. And we also improved our ability to detect certain fail conditions. So we know, if whatever network issues or device memory was preventing us from provisioning a code, we now catch more of those conditions and realize when it fails. Other than that, like Pierre said, we've been spending a lot of time on getting new users onboarded, making that taking some of the friction out of that process, making it easier. It is a complicated product. There's a lot going on. So we tried to clean up the sign-up flow. We actually removed a couple steps, made our messaging more clear. We're also now looking at basically improving the trial experience before you connect an account, either because you want to learn more about the product before you do that, or because you don't have a listing yet to connect. So we're making a much better experience there. And we're also working on a cool new feature to basically automatically match and merge listings as you import them. So we detect when it should be matched, and we recommend that to you to merge, because that's a critical process that has caused some friction for users in the past. So we are trying to fix that. And then on the direct side, we have started actually deploying code for some of the new payment processing. So payments, payouts, tax calculation, that code is actually getting deployed. We are able to start looking at that end-to-end payment flow now. We're debugging, we're optimizing to start looking at releasing that into kind of a soft launch very soon. We still have a couple components left. That's on the guest vetting side and the insurance side. A couple of those things got mentioned in the chat on this town hall. So that's where we're at there. Guest vetting and insurance are the next pieces for that puzzle, and then we can start really putting a date on that as we get all those dependencies out of the way and really make that a turnkey experience. And yeah, I know we owe you some templates, some new site templates for your direct sites. Those are coming very soon. I think we're going to do the first batch next week, and then the rest of those 10 templates as soon as we can after that. And then, we've got a full roadmap still to go with improvements and optimizations for all the different direct features after that. And I think that covers the product update. Back to you guys.
Oh, I did want to say, I actually forgot one little product improvement that we made. And it's that now in mobile view, the little chat messenger icon so that you can contact us in support has now been moved up to the top right and made quite a bit smaller, because there were some, we were seeing some issues where the little messenger icon was blocking out other things, on a small mobile screen. So you can still contact us from any page, but it should be a little easier to navigate around in mobile view now.
Yep. Thank you for that, Alyssa. I think that's something that Andrew touched on maybe briefly during his own segment. But thank you for the clarification.
Apologize,
anyway.
it cut out for me on that part. Sorry about that.
Okay, that's why. I think you're having some internet issues right now?
Yes.
Because of the snow?
Michigan and
Locally?
the snow. Yeah.
Michigan in the snow. Like, we could have known. Fantastic. Okay, thank you very much. I think now we can open to Q&A. Daniel? Or maybe to some questions on the chat directly.
Hi there. Yes. Well, we have Calvin, who already has raised his hand to come up on stage. So let's bring Calvin up.
Hey, so Calvin, and just in the meantime, we can have some kind of housekeeping items. Is that if you're on Clubhouse? Fantastic, Calvin. I was about to give you instructions as to how to unmute yourself, but you're already way ahead of the game. Thank you so much for that, Calvin.
Yes, so I wanted to ask about the VRBO connection. I've been having a time trying to make sure my pricing is correct. It does not actually mark up. And honestly, I don't think it even pushes the pricing through to VRBO. And I was wondering if y'all have seen any issues from other users, or is it just a me thing?
Sorry, is that a problem with the connection with Zerbo? I heard you mentioning something around markups, and that's kind of a bit of a trigger for me. So, just trying to clarify the thing. Is that a general connectivity with Verbo that's a problem for you right now?
Correct. A general connectivity and then markups. It's not allowing me to mark up my pricing on VRBO. I actually had to set my pricing completely separate from using laptop.
Okay. I believe that basic.
But yeah, I was just saying it doesn't allow me to actually push it through Price Labs to Hospitable, then going to VRBO.
And you cannot set a markup rate. I'm sorry, the connection broke down a little bit for me. Maybe that was my own connection.
Yeah,
but
that is correct. What
okay,
you said is correct.
Fantastic. So yes, Calvin, as we reported, I believe on the last town hall, we did experience an incident with Verbo that forced us to basically rebuild a few components of our integration with Verbo. So that basically created a few issues over, I think, 2 days, where we basically, for example, could not push rates to conversate. We could push rates on your Verbo listings. There was an incident that was reported at the time, and I want to thank really very much Sam, who's here on the call, also Costin, who is a bit elsewhere right now, for basically their effort in solving this. What I think support will be recommending is that if there is an issue that keeps happening in the connection of your Verbo account, is really to go through a process of resetting your password, so that we have a chance of basically running from a clean state. The support team can also assist you on if there is any kind of troubleshooting needed, and they can really change things. I'm not saying that so that I'm delegating to support. I really know that the support team can actually test and experiment to maybe facilitate the connection with Verbo. Calvin, did you have a chance to talk to the support team about it?
A little bit. I think I just didn't respond to one of the messages, and I can follow up. I didn't know if it was like a site-wide issue or it's just a me thing. So I can follow up in the little messages to kind of get some better clarification on what to do. My next question is around security system. Have you all integrated with any security systems yet, like Vivint?
I wanted to say, Pierre, but just before you answer that, I did want to let you know, Calvin, that one of your VRBO listings is currently inactive, and we're not able to push. VRBO doesn't allow us to push pricing to any inactive listings, and so that could be why you're seeing the prices not pushed for that one. But Pierre, I'll let you answer the other question.
Understood. Thank you so much. Yeah, I had to disable it because I thought, okay, maybe if I disable and re-enable it, it might change. But what I'm probably gonna do is completely start it off and brand new listing. That's probably what I'll do.
That's interesting. So definitely get closer to support team because they will be able to respond to the problem that you're raising. They are currently. I just want to everyone to realize as I'm going to call that really a significant part of the team is currently doing an advocating work for the feedback that they've received for previous months and years. So that basically they're advocating basically for your problems to be put on a company roadmap. They also contribute to the tickets right now in a bit of a limited capacity. But that also means that unfortunately our response time on the support are a little bit slower than we would otherwise wish desirable. On the question of security system like Vivint, so I know that there is a group of short-term rental investors that really recommend Vivint as their go-to security system, and I may be able to understand why. One of the challenge I believe with Vivint in particular as a vendor is that it is a closed ecosystem. It's a proprietary kind of product, and that means there really needs to be a thorough vetting process for basically getting even access to an integration capabilities. So far, we've been working with vendors that allow us to integrate indirectly, so to Smartlocks, for example. When you talk about security systems, I just want to make sure I understand, you really are talking about alarms, right? Or is that
Yeah,
something different again?
it's really the locks because I like the
Okay.
way my lock integrates with the Vivint system. I can see if I can arm my system, disarm my system. Unlike I have the current connection with the August Yale, but I can't actually arm my system. And then when the door opens and closes, I see it through the Vivint app. Like things like that, I want to go to like one place to see it all. And I'm talking thermostat, locks, humidity, all of those things. I want to be able to, okay, here's everything all in one section versus I got to go to August, then I got to go to Vivint, then I got to go to Hospitable, then I got to go to Airbnb, VRB, so many different systems, trying to more so consolidate.
I mean, thank you for escalating that. That's the right moment to start talking about it. We did talk a little bit about IoT devices, and I know that Christian right now is just aside the room, so I'm looking at him right now, and he's smiling back at me. Vivint is, I think there was an item on our public roadmap, so basically available for upvotes. I'm going to try and share the link there so that basically we can see how much upvotes we're having. So that's really, I think we're having 71 votes for an integration like this one, and just unfortunately to keep a bit of perspective, that's out of 9,000 customers. So it's what I appreciate though, and obviously that G Massey in the chat, of course, is here. You're talking about Vivint, and I know there was the short-term rental investor group that basically is talking about Vivint. That's definitely G Massey was talking about here. So it's in the chat, and he can introduce me with the right people at Vivint. So of course, we'd love to have some contacts. We can have the CEO of Smartlocks, Christian, to really investigate and discover that on the chats. That really something that is actually we decided earlier not to make a part of the conversation because they require more agility. It's a completely different product line. And so Christian has a lot more autonomy in basically determining what's the next move. So GJ, you can share that with us. We'd love to. I think you know my email address. In any case, so you can share that and can follow on so that we hopefully Vivint is capable of being responsive, which would greatly value so that we can assess that earlier rather than later.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
And thank you, Kevin. You can thank Jay Massey for that.
Yeah,
He's doing the job.
Jay is definitely a goat in the game for sure.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kelvin.
Alrighty, Calvin. I'm going to move you back into the audience then for now. Oh, and we have Jordan Robb.
And really quickly before we jump with Jordan, I see some of you in the chat. Take a look at the chat there. Pierre shared that link for that specific idea, but you can go follow that URL and make sure you upvote for every single idea that you would love to see Hospitable work on, especially today as we're about to have that roadmap discussion tomorrow. So, go ahead and look at the chat, feedback.hospitable.com. Send us your love for those votes. We greatly appreciate hearing your voice.
Thank you, Matthew. Hi, Jordan. Make sure to unmute yourself in the bottom right hand of your
Jesus
screen.
Christ.
There you
Hello?
go. Yeah,
We
there
got
you
you
go.
now.
You're up. Yep, we got you.
Oh, God. I've been waiting forever to get on, and then my internet just went out. Okay, I think I'm good now, though. My question was, if you guys have on your radar, I know some of your competitors have a feature where you can push new listings, pretty much just fill out one centralized listing sheet and then push it to a bunch of different platforms and then be able to edit it from one central platform. So if you add something Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com, TripAdvisor, whatever, and you just wanted to make one small change to the code instead of going into all 4 listings, I wanted to see what your guys' plans were on that. It seems like a pretty big feature.
I think Matthew, maybe even Ben, I don't know if I'm putting in the right direction, may be able to provide a better answer on this than I do.
Well, one of the things that we originally had with these discussions were, earlier on with the APIs, like you found that even when you were using some of those tools and you made an update or a change, you would still have to go to the website because the same field for Airbnb was different than that field for Vrbo. So data would come across in multiple ways. And I know early on, that was one of the reasons why we felt, hey, this isn't just adding that much value, because at the end of the day, hosts are making those changes in one system, but then they still need to update because the TripAdvisor field is completely different than the Agoda field, for instance. So I know that's where we were previously, and I know it's not something that we really discuss on our roadmap, especially with the channels that we're offering and not being that wide range channel manager. Like we find for those hosts who need that value, because of the connections we have with most of these channels, it almost makes more sense to use us in combination with a channel manager if that's something that's really important to your business. Because for our core business, it's not one of the most pressing items that our hosts are asking us for. That would be my input that I have based on some of the past discussions I know we've had.
And I think there are already kind of some components that, I do completely agree with what Matthew is saying, is that if you are going to be focused on distributing a very large inventory, a very large portfolio, you may not be actually within our own ideal customer profile of those customers that have, up to 10 properties. And that's really the opportunities that we're after. And that's why we're building a product that's easy to use and as compelling as it is possible for them. It's not saying that basically I know we talked about something really at the occasion of your MA a few weeks ago with Booking.com specifically about like the fact that it's probably going to be easier for a product to create the listings for Booking.com directly rather than basically having you connect an existing or a new Booking.com account, because obviously that's something that basically is something that's very associated with the values delivered for ideal customer profile. I think we also started doing something of the sort really on the property details page associated with direct. So all the things that Matthew was saying are absolutely correct from a product and an engineering perspective. There is already a seed that has been planted about it for example, collecting the summaries, listing descriptions that we're having, number of guests, amenities, location, and the different features of your properties on our product that currently is going to be to manage your direct booking listing, as we basically want to put more resources into direct bookings. So the way it expands to other platforms is really depending on API restrictions that we can have with Booking.com, with Airbnb, and with Vrbo as well. But it is in a view, a very big challenge, and it's very hard. It's not necessarily associated with the value of a product.
Jordan, what channels are you using? So you mentioned a few there. Are you using all of those right now? Where are you getting some of your reservations from?
Mostly VRBO and Airbnb. I'd love to be on Booking.com, but I think when, the stuff that you guys are talking about, it really becomes, kind of redundant and not a good use of my time unless it was a feature that you offered. And I do think with Google, Google kind of pairing up with some of these guys to syndicate all this stuff and put it on Google, it's going to be super important going forward. And not to say that, something like what you're talking about, but doing it, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Like even on
I hear
Airbnb,
you.
different sections are up for interpretation. Like, why is there a neighborhood description and then a getting around description? Those
Yeah,
things
yeah.
I kind of play with around too. So, it doesn't have to be super advanced, but it would be nice to have some sort of way to syndicate the data through multiple channels going forward.
And Google's a bit of a different beast as well. Like, especially as we push direct, that's conversations I literally had with Andrew today and jumped in depth with that. Because Google, really, at the end, we want to be able to push your direct booking website onto Google. So that would be something that would be intertwined with Hospitable and the data that we have within there to make it a bit easier to be able to get you on Google, get you more direct bookings, using that direct booking site you built through our system. So Google is a bit of a different beast, and that's a bit of a different conversation that we're having there as well. But, I mean, like you said, what we find with our core audience, like for the most part, Airbnb and Vrbo are driving everything. Booking.com, yeah, maybe if we're in different parts of the country. We know Booking's doing a huge job on trying to be more marketable in the U.S. and try to attract more guests. But seeing that, it's something we really need to make sure, right, are we managing our resources correctly? But Jordan, man, appreciate you. Thank you so much for the suggestion and bringing that up for us. We wholeheartedly appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you so much.
Alrighty, John, I'm going to move you back to the audience now. I've been looking through the chat questions, but everyone, like the guys from the Hospitable team, have been amazing with answering all the questions through there. So if anyone wants to come up on stage and kind of further ask any more questions, please raise your hand in the. Oh, there we go, John.
Ah,
Anyway,
Of
and
course, John.
okay.
And I know we had some really excited support people because we had our Asia Pacific team here as well. So Francis and Mike were super stoked to be able to connect with some of you all in real time. So we appreciate that, Francis and Mike. We're so happy to have you guys here today. Hey, John.
Hey, John.
Hey guys, how are you? Long time no speak.
Yeah, it's
Doing fine.
been like 2 weeks, right? Since the last time we actually saw you. It's
You're getting
It was
bored?
really good seeing. It was really good seeing your team live and everything. So that was really exciting. So, I asked this in support and I already got a response for a feature request and it's been added to your feature request portal. But I just wanted to reiterate, if there's a way to set each property at the property level on which host account it defaults to in terms of responding when it's a manual response, that would be great because I have some properties that are not my, I want to present it as someone else. And for any manual response right now, we have to go to the top left corner and pick a different user. And so I just wanted to put that request in live as well.
Do you solely respond from that one user when you're manually responding to those messages, or do you like actually vary it back and forth? Hey, sometimes we may respond from the owner, sometimes we may respond from the co-host. Or is it always the owner?
So for me, the idea is for certain properties, it's always the owner. So the co-host account is really just there so that we can respond, but not being visible. And then in other cases, it would always be me. But different people have different use cases. But for me, each property pretty much has one default communicator that we try to use.
Understood. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for talking about that, John. So I won't answer because I don't need to because Ben is listening and I know he's already thinking about the way that he can make it work on front end because I'm almost in his brain.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we
Because
actually
we've been talking about it for
talked
a
about this once before when we first released the feature. We were on the fence and thinking about whether we should make it sticky so that if you change your selection from one host to another, like should we remember that? Should it be on like a per property basis or on a per conversation basis? And per conversation probably seemed like it wouldn't be quite enough. Yeah, so it's definitely something we thought about. I'm pretty sure we don't have anything at the moment, but it's not a tricky thing to add. We're road mapping tomorrow. Yeah, it seems like one of those good quality of life changes, especially like John for you, like you said to Matthew, you tend to sort of stick with one host, one voice.
yeah, that's definitely something we can dive into, and there's ways of making that work for sure.
And the beautiful thing about it is that Emily, the product manager, who is literally gonna be asked that question and is gonna providing the answer and mapping out the solution, is listening in. And she has not even started her job, so please, Emily, you don't need to waste your time. Waste your time. No, that's not what I mean. But we'll basically we can go through that feature request together as soon as you're starting, and that's exactly the type of feature request that you can expect in your future job. So, and John, that's something that we talked about internally multiple times. So I'm confident it will happen over some time.
We told you, Emily, it's going to be really easy to build things here. They just tell us exactly what they want. And thanks, everybody. We appreciate that.
Well, thanks, Emily, for listening. I'm excited if that can get incorporated. And I just want to give a shout out for the Smartlock integration. It's working very well on my end. So thanks, guys, for making smart things and other lock integration work.
I'm gonna add Christian for you.
Yeah, we'll give him a big squeeze for you, John. Thanks so much, brother. We appreciate you.
Alrighty, John. Thank you very much for coming up on stage. I'm going to put you back in the audience now. We appreciate you. And we have Alon. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. Up next.
It's a name I've not read in a long time. Is this the original one, Alan? If that's the case, Alan is really one of the very, 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 very early users of Smart BNB back in the day. How are you doing, Alan?
Good. How are you?
Fine, great. It's a pleasure to hear you. Is that your first time on Clubhouse?
It's the second time. Usually the time that you guys have the clubhouse is the time that I have to put my kids into bed. So I always try, but I have to have help from somebody for me to be available. My wife. I wanted to say that I don't have a question today, but I just wanted to give my appreciation. I wanted to see that I can speak, that I'm able to do that technically, and to give my appreciation to the company. And it's amazing for me. I'm from Israel, to be associated with you guys and the way you do things and the way you ask the guests, the customers what they need. And it's just a real pleasure, and I wanted to say that out loud.
And Alan, it's been an incredible pleasure to have you as a customer. Do you know when you started becoming a Smart BNB user?
I'm guessing a year and a half ago, not more than that. A year and a half ago, I think so.
Really?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, before that, maybe. Time goes by fast for me.
I'm gonna check. I'm curious about these things, because it really feels like it's been 6 years. But maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe
Okay.
I ask a lot of
Is that
questions,
a name?
so
Okay.
yeah,
No. But anyway, I'm gonna check that, and I don't think I'm confusing. But thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, it's been 2 years ago. 2 years ago, yes, indeed.
yes.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for those kind words. We really, really want you all to feel like you're a part of this community. You're helping us build this product. Like when we have these discussions tomorrow, when we have the discussions that we had today, you are absolutely at the forefront, and we hear your voices, we hear your feature requests. So we just, from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you all so very much for helping us and for all of you that have been part of this journey, et cetera, et cetera. It's been quite the ride. We had a couple surprise guests who came back from the early Smart BNB team with Nick and Marie. So it's just been wonderful, and something that rings throughout are the wonderful hosts that we've always been able to work with. So thank you all so very much, and we appreciate all the help and keeping us honest here each and every day.
Thank you,
guys.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you so much, Alan.
I'm gonna put you back in the audience now, but thank you very much for your kind words. And then I think we have, we'll see how it goes, but we have another frequent flyer that's coming up. It's Tracy.
Frequent flyer. That's what we say now. That's good.
I tried to think of a way to do it in a kind of rental way, but I couldn't think of something. So yeah.
Yeah.
We got a repeat
Okay.
guest here. Repeat guest
A
Tracy
repeat
coming
guest,
back
yeah.
out.
Repeat guys.
She's the
That's
wrecking
much
book.
better.
Hey
I'm
That's
back.
much
Tracy,
Can you
better.
hear me?
we can hear you. How are you today?
Good. How are you? Hey, I didn't know if you guys have how much connection you have with Airbnb, but I'm thrilled with Brian saying that he's going to verify guests more because we've been having problems with local people trying to book with us for parties. So if they did verify IDs more, they would be able to see that a local guest is trying to book with us and throw up a red flag, I'd hope.
Yeah, and that's something that we read with the winter release, right, that they're enhancing. I think with the ID verify, like, it's probably not something because I think what they were doing with that is expanding it to more countries, so maybe not something that would be as beneficial to our U.S. hosts. But I do know that they were really touting that enhanced, protection where they're monitoring the reservation activity and trying to even stop it before the booking happens. I know that's something that came out in the release, but I know that tool's also been in place for a couple of years now, so I wonder. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it's working for you there, Tracy. But that's all I've really read about with the feature, and haven't heard much from other hosts at this point.
Okay.
I think that maybe one of the reasons why one of the members of the team today actually got their account blocked and shut down because of those kind of detection pattern. I did nothing wrong, but he basically booked from a unusual place because he is currently traveling. He's with us in Amsterdam rather than his hometown in Spain, and that may very very well be something happening. There is always a line basically between those kind of fraud protection and verification on the guest side. Is that there's always going to be a risk that it's actually going to be preventing legitimate bookings, which obviously an horror scenario for fraud and compliance teams. And that is more realistic. That it's actually those kind of changes that are actually impactful is what happened today because to one of our colleagues because that's basically something that's happening outside of the US.
Tracy, didn't something like this happen to you last week too, where there was the VRBO, right, and you had the call service, if you will? Wow,
Yeah.
all right, we got to get auto host for you.
Actually, we had they actually booked my daughter's property because we were in charge of different properties, and they actually booked and stayed at her property without her realizing it was the same guest.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what Matthew's saying, getting you on,
Getting auto host up and running,
getting
yeah.
you on auto host, yeah,
that-
would be the solution for you, Tracy.
That's given us a kick in the pants there to get it going for you. Do you utilize? No, because how many properties are you managing right now, Tracy?
7. We have 7 right now.
7, so you're still under that threshold there. So something like auto host, once we bring that in, if we can help you across different channels, that'll be something that you'll be really, really happy with. Noted, Tracy.
We'll be adding more properties, so we'd love to have auto host. We were hoping that Airbnb would at least we can tell they're not verifying, because they'll see if they verified her ID that she was a local person, trying to book.
Do you use any of our custom code for the ID not verified and maybe asking additional questions? Are you using any of that's built into the system as it is today?
Oh, no, I didn't know about that.
So there is a custom code that will show that the guest does not have a verified ID, and when that custom code's triggered, you can ask a few additional questions so that you're protecting yourself. It's not going to be able to prevent that reservation by any means, but it would at least be able to ask them a few more questions that are going to go ahead and maybe help you snuff that out, unfortunately maybe after the reservation happens, but in enough time hopefully to protect you and your properties.
Okay. Where can I find out more information about that?
Yeah, it's right there in the custom code section, and I believe there may be even a help article that's listed. We'll have somebody from the support team see if they can fire it over for you.
Okay, great.
But yeah, if you guest screening or guest vetting custom code, you give that a search in hospitable.com, and you should be able to find that help article. That'll walk you through that and kind of walk you through the steps and the things that you may want to consider when it comes to that. So asking a few additional questions where they don't have that verified ID. Hey, what brings you to town? How long have you been on Airbnb? Things like that. We know that a lot of times a very active host, it can snuff those out because as a troubled guest, I'm not a troubled guest. But those troubled guests, they want to find hosts that aren't paying attention and are just going to have instant book and allow everything to happen without even raising a discussion with them. So definitely something to take a look at. Go through those help articles and you should find it. And I know Ray just gave me a wink that he's going to see if he can find one for you and send it over to you on your account. Appreciate it.
Okay, yeah.
Tracy, keep an eye on.
Up instant book because of this, we hate to turn it off, but we just don't want.
Keep an eye on the chat, Tracy. We're gonna share that help article, and it looks like one of our VIP guest host tonight, Jay Massey, is maybe going to share some tips with you on the chat as well. And I saw that Derek was asking about AutoHost and what that property minimum. So basically, the problem is it's difficult to get AutoHost if you don't have you meet a certain threshold of properties. That is something we're looking at. So right now we have an integration with AutoHost, but you need to have an AutoHost account first. We're working on AutoHost at this moment with Direct, and basically we're going to be the customer for AutoHost. Hospitable will be, and we're going to be running all those reservations through because we're taking on liability with that Direct premium booking. So we're going to be the merchant of record. We're going to be taking those chargebacks. We're going to be ensuring the bookings. So we're going to be working really closely with the AutoHost integration. And there is a kind of a third AutoHost step we could do, which is to help you guys that are not meeting that threshold to basically provision your AutoHost accounts for you. It's something that AutoHost just really can't manage on their own. So hopefully we can get good news for you, in the future that we'll be able to help you guys get AutoHost accounts and offer you that protection.
That'd be great.
Well, thank you so much, Tracy. And Jay, Miles, mark it down. We need to do a masterclass with Jay. I want you to give our customers some of the special tips that you're sharing with your audience there on how to maximize Hospitable.com. I see some good marketing opportunities there. Thanks so much, man. We appreciate you sharing that for sure. Yeah, that's for sure.
Alrighty, Tracy, I'm going to put you back into the audience now, and that's all the time that we had for today, folks. So we're going to leave the team back to get to do what they do best, and they're all together. Well, not all together, but most together at the moment with the Europe and Asian team. So hope you guys enjoyed this evening. Have a great evening, day, wherever you are. And just a reminder that this recording will be on the Hospitable YouTube tomorrow. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Hit that subscribe button. Get those notifications sent to you so that you can rewatch it and get those updates. And Pierre, yes, for the final words.
I mean, it was everyone that wants to say bye as well. But now we're going to be heading for dinner in Amsterdam, and that's basically going to be after all the input that we received from today. With the great colleagues making some presentations. Now is going to be the time when we start, casually talking about, hey, what should we do? What should we start committing resources on? And that's usually a very comfortable way of making those decisions. I know Matthew is laughing a little bit there. But yeah, thank you very much all for attending. Thank you very much for your engagement. The chat has been really on fire. I could barely keep up at times. And thank you very much for the feedback, the words of love and affection towards our product and our team. And we're looking forward to the next town hall, 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, same time, same place, and to basically talk to more about basically what we have been committing our resources on. Thank you very much. Have a great evening, morning, afternoon, and see you later.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Ciao, everyone.
Thanks all.